Catching the wily Little Cayman lobster has always been difficult, and strict environmental laws now forbid the taking of any living creature along most of the island's coast. I embrace those laws as necessary to preserve the pristine island and haven't killed a fish in decades. However, after 45 years of snorkeling the barrier reef, I am familiar with the few remaining spots where hunting lobster is legal, and enjoying a lobster dinner during my annual visits has become a Cayman tradition, until now. For me, the search for lobster has always been a small part of the journey. I keep my distance from the reef to avoid the inevitable surges and currents that might cause damage to the reef. The lion's share of my time is spent enjoying the parade of remarkable saltwater species that surround me. Almost subconsciously, my eyes search the nooks and crannies in the reefs for the lobster's long whips, which betray their presence. When the lobster senses my approach, it moves to the mouth of the cave to size up the intruder. Because of its thick, spiked shell, the lobster has few enemies that can hurt it, and little fear. Upon first contact with a human, it often feigns aggression and leaves the safety of its home. At this point, it is vulnerable. When the lobster senses danger, it flaps its powerful tail, which propels it backwards with considerable speed. If you manage to manipulate the noose of the snare over and behind the lobster, it backs right into the noose, which tightens around its tail. On my first try with our featured lobster, the cave was too tight to use the snare, so I nudged the creature and backed off. Lucky for me, the lob came to rest in the open spot, securing its own demise. I closed the gap between us, eased the loop of the snare over its tail, and pulled tight. Lobster on! Once snared, all hell breaks loose, and the best you can do is hold on until the powerful animal tires. Only then can you pull it out and away from the reef. At this point, the lobster is exhausted but relatively unharmed, and you can check to see if its tail is holding eggs, often 1 million at a time. A yes is a mandatory release, a no and you could get the pot boiling. Today's lob was a no, and as I turned to swim in with my prize, I began to salivate over its 2-pound tail and how good a meal it would make. However, my joy began to fade as the lobster regained its strength. Its armored legs wrapped around the sleeve of my wetsuit and held tight, its whips exploring my shoulders. It sounds odd, but at that moment I felt a bond with this exotic saltwater creature. When I shook it off, the lobster crawled along the bottom, still bound by the snare, looking back at me as if to say, "Have mercy." What scuttled my dinner plans was the realization that letting the lobster go and filming its journey back to the reef would be of interest to the viewers of my infant YouTube channel. To my surprise, I found myself releasing the lobster from the snare, a first for an egg-free captive. Normally, a freed lobster will speed off in a flash and disappear into the deeps. But acting as if it understood it's part of the deal, this one slowly ambled across the sandy bottom and then, like a tour guide, led us through the various rooms of its home on the reef, lifting this video from the common to the sublime. 5 minutes after releasing the lobster, in the midst of a leisurely swim back to shore, I encountered a scene that I have never experienced before. Like an angel coming out of the clouds, a spotted eagle ray suddenly appeared and slowly circled me for 2 minutes, a physical manifestation of grace and beauty. It was quite a surprise, for this species of rays are known to be shy and tend to avoid humans. In addition, Little Cayman is a mountaintop island, and there are few flats to sustain large numbers of this species. During the spectacle, it crossed my mind that the tail of the spotted eagle ray is generally 3 times longer than its body and ends in barbed and venomous spikes. My estimate of this ray was 6 feet across, making its head to tail length 24 feet. Simply put, it was impressive, and this individual ray was only half the size of the biggest. Unfortunately, like so many species in the 21st century, the spotted eagle ray is endangered due to human activity, with loss of habitat, pollution, and global warming leading causes. This splendid specimen we see is a sign it's not too late, but the clock is winding down. Over the years, I have come to believe there are myriad forces we cannot see that shape our lives. I cannot rationally explain it, but I am certain that being alone here in the shallows with this regal relative of the shark was a gift from those unseen forces, a thank you for sparing one of its neighbors. Be what it may, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please like and subscribe.